Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Well, we did a chat about works that might have problems in the 21st century. And one of those was Mahler's Second Symphony. And the issue was that it no longer has quite the sense of occasion that it needs, that it ought to have, that it should be reserved for special events, or at least it should be played as a special event, whether it's reserved or not. What absolutely astonished me after that was the deluge. I mean, like just gushing crazy amounts of Mahler 2 performances going on in the world. You all chimed in with your comments and said, well, I'm going to go see it next week, or it's tomorrow. It was unbelievable how often this thing is getting played. I was stunned. Absolutely stunned. I hope you were too. It really just drives home the point. And one of you asked if I was going to cover the new Mahler 2 being issued on Deutsche Grammophon Australia, featuring Simone Young, who is the music director of the Sydney Symphony, and that was recorded in July 21 and 20th and 21st or something like that, in 2022 for the opening of the new renovated Sydney Opera House / Concert Hall. Well, here it is, and I've listened to it a few times, it's an interesting test case. It really is, because it says so much about the current state of our musical culture and also where it's going. Now, Simone Young has a reputation as a fine Mahler conductor. I saw her do the Sixth with the New York Philharmonic. It was really quite fine. I had confidence. And she's also, here's the weird thing, she's already recorded it. She did it in Hamburg and for Erms. And it was a very good performance. It's a little bit lightweight, but it was a good, solid performance, maybe just lacking that sense of occasion. Well, this was an occasion, and that sense of occasion in this live performance is everywhere about this performance. It has that much more epic quality. It's the same interpretation, basically, which we'll get to in a minute, but played with more gusto, maybe because it's recorded up closer to a degree, but there's a difference. There's definitely a difference. And it was really fun to encounter this. So one element, one necessary element is present. That is the fact that it's a big deal. You get that sense listening to this performance right from the very opening, with the basses really hitting there. I mean, oh boy, does it grind. I mean, that's what you need. It's absolutely what has to happen. So we're in great shape as far as that's concerned. The next question is, having established this sense of occasion, the scale of the work, doing justice to just the big issues that it raises, is it repeatable? Because we hear many live recordings that have all kinds of interesting, bits, moments, but you don't want to hear them again because, once you make a recording, it's fixed for all time. And is it repeatable? That's the question. Well, yes, I repeated it. It worked perfectly well, so it is repeatable. I would listen to this again. It's a very, very fine performance of Mahler 2. So what does Simone Young bring to the table that others perhaps have not? Well, first of all, like I said, that first movement is really, really powerful. There are some quirks of the live recording that we'll have to put up with, because live, I shouldn't say live, I should say in concert. That was another discussion we had, right? The actual recording, I mean, suspended cymbals seem to be in another planet sometimes. You can hear them sometimes you don't. There are some, the trumpets may be a little bit, the balances aren't always perfect. We deal with that. Off-stage things particularly cause so many problems when you record this work in concert, as opposed to when you have the opportunity to really manipulate things and realize Mahler's intentions very clearly. So just be aware of that. The offstage cadenza before the chorus comes in. The trumpets seem to be pretty close, the horns further back. The offstage trumpets and percussion of that huge climax before the chorus comes in. Those are kind of catch as catch can. We learn to deal with those things. But the first movement is really powerful. let's just say straight off, she has a really keen responsiveness to what Mahler demands. There's that first climax where it's going yada yada dum cha da 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 chumba. When Mahler marks forward, she plays it like a bat out of hell. Terrific. And the big central climax of the development section is really powerful. I mean, that struck with the bow episode, when it's going da 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 da, and underneath it's going chuck 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 chuck. It's like really scary. I mean, you feel the atmosphere, the mood of the music. It's very, 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 very intense. And so that's just fantastic. I mean, the coda, the whole coda of the piece is really well done. So that's great. The Andante, as with her earlier performance, is very quick. It's a real minuet. Dum ba da 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 bum ba da 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 da, which I really like, actually. Bernstein drew it out to make it this sort of foggy, nostalgic memory, which was also quite beautiful. I mean, it works either way, but this was really, really well done. And the transitions were extremely well executed. It's one of those movements that can cause problems where, they're going cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, like that, Anyway, so that was really good. The scherzo was slower than usual, which also works because you can wring out all of the irony in the music. The mid-humor passage is, one of the few moments where she really allows herself a little of interventionist agogics, if you want to call it that. Like that, works perfectly well. So that was terrific. We get an Ohrlicht sung by, who is this person here? Deborah Humble. Deborah Humble does not have a great voice. She's a bit wobbly. She's not horrible, but she's not exactly a joy to listen to. Some of her German pronunciation is a little peculiar. More on that anon. But she gets through it. It's not a great Ohrlicht. The finale erupts very nicely. Of course, I would have preferred a louder whack on the tam-tam. I mean, people just have to cut loose sometimes. But it's not because Young isn't letting them. It really isn't. It opens beautifully. It has a really good percussion crescendos. You've got the march bit towards the end of the first half is really powerful. And as I said, the whole passage leading up to the entrance of the choir, well, there are some balance issues there, but it's well done, and it's exciting and aptly mysterious. Even though the trumpets seem a little close to me, but the horns are nicely echoey in the background. And they use the full complement. There's 10 horns and 10 trumpets in this performance. They give you the list of people playing. So that they did it right logistically. You don't hear people walking around in music stands shuffling and all of that nonsense. The chorus is one of the most cleanly recorded that I have ever heard. You could write down the text. It is so perfectly enunciated. Might be a little up close. A little of the mystery may be missing. But wow, do they articulate the words. They communicate, which I think is really powerful and really, really beautiful. I mean, again, the pronunciation is a little bit weird. I mean, dear Herr, dear Ernte. It's der Herr, der Ernte. It's all the same vowel, people. Excuse me. It's all the same vowel. You don't have to go dear Herr, dear. It's weird anyway. So the pronunciation is a little peculiar, but boy, you can hear it. I mean, why? Hey, why complain when they give you, such generous portions, as it were. Anyway, so that's terrific. And the ending is glorious with really brazen bell plates clanking away. And I wanted more tam-tam, of course, naturally. In her earlier recording, you hear the tam-tam beautifully. It's nicely transcribed, but you don't hear the bells. Here, you get bells and less tam-tam. It's always 6 in one, a half dozen in the other with this symphony, isn't it? But the live recording is very good. Now, you also get, as a bonus, before the symphony, William Barton's Of the Earth, the world premiere. He is a Australian composer who is supposed to be one of the world's best didgeridoodlers. That's his instrument, and it's really for local consumption. This is one of those, it does Aboriginal things, and it's supposed to be this sort of mystical union with the planet, and I have no patience for anything like that. That's me. It's pretty, it has people singing. It's got like the Gondwana Indigenous Children's Choir, which is just lovely. The Gondwana, they were there before the continent split up. I don't know. The Australian local Indigenous thing is an Australian thing, and they are welcome to it. We have our own issues here in the U.S. It is neither better nor worse than an occasional piece of its type. Let's put it that way. It's very pleasant to listen to. It uses clacking sticks and other made of wood from the concert hall and wood from various trees and other wood things. And I am totally with anybody who thinks it's marvelous, because it's very pleasant. I mean, it really is. It gets the job done. It's much better, for example, than John Adams on the Transmigration of Souls, which I still think was one of the most horrible ever things written for a special occasion. So I am, and it won a Pulitzer Prize. So I am not going to talk about it any further, other than to say it's worth listening to. Definitely worth listening to, and that's fine. So, what do we have? We have an occasion, a memento of an occasion that is worth revisiting. And that, I think, is a healthy sign. It's a good thing. And Simone Young is a good conductor. She really is. And she's got the Sydney Symphony playing with 100% conviction. And that's what we need in a valid Mahler Second Symphony, of which this is certainly one. So good job, everybody. Thanks for doing this and restoring my faith in the future. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.